Hello, everybody. So I know it's really late in the night, and I know I'm making a bad habit of starting these late in the night, but I'm going to try to get on a more reasonable schedule for you guys. Hopefully, tomorrow's live stream will be at a reasonable time in the day. But there were several things I wanted to talk about today. First, I want to talk about, is the person who works for Daily Wire, Michael Knowles, based or not based? So I think he's different from people like Ben Shapiro or Matt Walsh, people who are obviously not based, totally cucked, and just all around awful, in the sense that Michael Knowles is borderline based, sort of on the border between being based and not based. So he praises authoritarianism a lot, which is really nice to hear from a conservative. So many conservatives will talk about just awful nonsense like small government, but he says, "Oh, yeah, we should use government to stop these people." These you hear both sides say authoritarian this, authoritarian that. Shut up, no one cares. Like that's a great thing to say. Um, and he always paraphrase this with, sorry, uh, explains this with, but I'm not a fascist because a fascist is bad for the family unit, so I'm a conservative. Just like me, a conservative, but not a fascist. And I I also really liked, he was talking about this conversation he had with this woman, and he was uh because she was saying that women should have the right to vote, and he was saying they shouldn't, and this was coming from Republican women. And I really liked his argument here. What's the purpose of voting? And then she said, oh, it's to get the things we want. And then he said, well, most women are Democrats, so if we take away women's right to vote, this will hurt the Democrat Party and help the Republican Party, giving you things you want. And women, even the Democrat ones, would be better off in a right-wing society than a left-wing one. So I really liked his argument for why it's reasonable to strip women of the right to vote. Um, but why is he not totally based? So he says a lot of cucked things, but I think a lot of that is not his actual opinions. He's just saying it because his boss, Ben Shapiro, is making him say it. And there's certain things you just can't talk about on the Daily Wire. For example, he would talk about how awful Michael Knowles is and how Michael Knowles is this terrible, no good person. Sorry. Nick Fuentes is this no good, terrible person and how awful Nick Fuentes is. But I'm not sure he really hates the guy that much. I think part of it is just the Daily Wire. Sorry, the Daily. Man, this is it's really late at night, guys. So my head is. I'm really tired. But I almost called it the Daily Stormer. Yeah, not the Daily Stormer, the Daily Wire. Hates him, so he's just going along so he doesn't get in trouble. But at the end of the day, that's still pretty bad working for a cucked company. And then something else I think is interesting is his stance on the founding fathers. So he will oftentimes praise the founding fathers, but not in the way a lot of liberals and conservatives do, like what you would expect from your typical average neocon or liberal, which is that he says, yes, government should have an opinion on religion, as it should. And yes, we should have state religion. We should have the state pick your religion base, essentially. And then he would say, well, the founding fathers only wanted a separation between government and religion because they were doing religion on the state level. And and I'm tired, but he would always talk about, well, this one main founding father, like it was one of the people who were known for having these big ideas that were was John Locke's his name, but said that atheism should be illegal. It should be a crime to be an atheist. And so I think that's definitely respectable, but I don't quite like it that he's saying that the founding fathers were right, because as we know, the founding fathers were wrong about a lot of things. They weren't very good people. But so, and then, but he could just be pretending to like the founding fathers for his job or for optics. But then another thing is, I think he sort of gets hooked up on a really stupid culture war issues. Like he'll talk about this stuff like Mr. Potato Head, or oh these commies, oh these commies. But I feel like a lot of his time and resources could be better spent talking about other issues. And he also seems to just be one of those people that doesn't talk about racial demographics. In one of his videos, he was talking about how a state is important, and then he was like, so imagine you replace the French people with English people, and now France is full of English people. Or, well, actually what's more realistic is imagine Europe having the Europeans replaced by like Arabs and black people. And because that's more realistic, that's what he said. So there was sort of a little illusion to him believing in the great replacement theory. But yeah, that was sort of vague. I mean, it could have been that he didn't want to flat out go into that theory for like optics, so he thought he would just do this little dog whistle. But either way, it would be a lot nicer to see more from him. I think he needs to talk about racial issues more, because, yeah, that's one of his main problems. I truly, unlike Matt Walsh and Ben Shapiro, who I've made up my mind, they're cocked. They're no good. They're garbage. They're not good enough for the Republican Party. They should be kicked out of the GOP. I'm a little bit on the fence with this Michael Knowles guy, because I think he has some really good opinions, but then some really bad opinions too. So I guess not sure about that one. So there was a poll I wanted to talk about that came out recently. So they polled Black people, and they said, so the phrase, it's okay to be white. 53% of Black people agreed, 26% disagreed, and 21% said they're not sure. That's flat out terrible. And then the phrase, Black people can be racist too. 76% agree, 27% disagree, 8% not sure. So this is flat out awful. This shows that Black people are extremely racist and hateful towards white people. So 26% think that existing as a white person is bad or not okay. It's not okay to be white. So we're flat out getting into genocidal territory there. They flat out, 26% said we don't think Black people or 26% of Black people said they don't think white people should exist, and 21% said they're not sure whether white people should exist. And then for black people can be racist too. So 27% of black people think white people are born with the worst sin of all, racism. Um, yeah, so obviously there's extreme amounts of racism and hate and bigotry in the black community towards my people, our people. But this poll isn't what got people riled up. If it was a poll done um, checking out what white people think of black people, and these were the results. 26% disagreed with the phrase, it's okay to be black, and 27% disagreed with the phrase, white people can be racist. Then there would be all of these news headlines about, oh, this proves that Fox News has brainwashed the American people. Tucker Carlson has turned everyone into a white supremacist Nazi, fascist. This is what would be going on, and we would never hear an end to it. It would be in our ears, blasting 24/7 for days and days about how evil this is, and how awful this is, and how terrible this is. But that's not what the media is talking about. This poll, they should, but they're not. They're talking about some cartoonists, some comic, like a funny comic they put in the newspaper about his reaction.
So if nearly half of all blacks are not okay with white people, according to this poll, not according to me, according to this poll, that's a hate group. That's a hate group. And I don't want to have anything to do with them. And I would say, based on the current way things are going, the best advice I would give to white people is to get the hell away from black people. Just get the fuck away. Wherever you have to go, just get away. Because there's no fixing this. This can't be fixed. Right? This can't be fixed. You just have to escape. So that's what I did. I went to a neighborhood where, I have a very low black population. Because unfortunately, there's a high correlation between the density. And this is according to Don Lemon, by the way. So here I'm just quoting Don Lemon when he notes that when he lived in a mostly black neighborhood, there were a bunch of problems that he didn't see in white neighborhoods. But those who don't want to focus on education, you just need to get away from them. Just get as much distance as you can.
Yeah, so no one should be talking about that. The only thing people should be talking about is the poll results or something else, but certainly not some guy's reaction to it. What a waste of time. And it's so awful how if this was a black person saying that about white people, oh, I just can't trust white people. You got to get away from white people. Move into a black neighborhood so you don't have to deal with white problems. And this would be applauded by CNN and the mainstream media. Everyone would be saying, vote him into office. We love this guy. Let's give him money. But that's not what's happening. Because since the races are reversed, he's getting canceled. His life is ruined. His life is gone. He's basically in hell for all anyone cares. But it's not funny, obviously. I think he's basically right. I mean, stay away from black people. I mean, I think you could have black friends, but I certainly don't think relationships between white and black should ever get sexual. Of course, race mixing is wrong. Race mixing should be stopped. Race mixing is bad, terrible. And as far as I moved to a white neighborhood, a predominantly white neighborhood, so I could get away from these problems. Yeah, I don't want to be the one to say it, but there's a whole lot of problems in black neighborhoods that aren't in white neighborhoods. When what is it, 13% of the population is responsible for 50% of the crime, then you know there's going to be a lot of crime. I mean, look at the comparison of how many black men rape white women to how many white men rape black women. It's crazy. Um, we see that black men are constantly raping white women, but white men basically never rape black women. So, yeah, uh, this guy is, I mean, I feel like he's basically right. Perhaps phrased some things poorly that came off a little bit wrong, but pretty much right. And even if he maybe was a little bit inappropriate with his wording, certainly not something worth talking about the way the mainstream media is talking about it. Talk about the poll results. Talk about the fact that the social Marxists and globalists are turning white people into a minority. Talk about the fact that the social Marxist globalists are killing the white people. You could talk about the fact that birth rates are so awful that everyone's just going to be gone pretty soon. You could talk about how the obesity rate is awful and everyone in the world is obese and everyone's dying from being too fat. There are so many things that are more important to talk about than this. And this just shows that the mainstream media is filth, disgusting filth, needs to be destroyed by the state. And the people who are responsible for this filth, the people who work for mainstream media, the news anchors, and the people that are owning it, they need to be punished by the state for doing all of this. Okay, so I thought there was an interesting ad campaign. So right now in El Salvador, so this place is known for being a crime-riddled shithole. Sorry for the foul language, but there's people that are trying to change it and try to make it into a respectable country, trying to turn it into a place that would be nice to live in. And they have a new president, and he's doing amazing work. He's cleaning the streets, he's wiping out the criminals, and he recently released a video about it. And I quite liked the video. It's him taking down there's this gang MS-13, and he's destroying the criminals. Yeah. So this is awesome. This is an awesome piece of propaganda. This is a cool piece of propaganda, and I wish the US was doing the same. So as expected, the libs had a hissy fit over this. This is an article by the New Yorker. The rise of Nayib Bukele's Ecuador's authoritarian president. Well, first off, why are you using authoritarian as an insult? That's a good thing. But aside from that point, why isn't America doing this? Why isn't America doing this to our criminals? It's because the West has destroyed itself and ruined itself, and well, the social Marxists, globalists are doing it to us, but the West is filth, all in the name of becoming more kind. Oh, we need to become more kind. Um, well, maybe I think you could try showing some kindness to the white men for once. I know you hate us, and I know you want to destroy us, but perhaps if you would stop, if you would show less kindness to these refugees that are being flooded into your land by the social Marxist globalists, and more kindness towards us, then there wouldn't be so much right-wing terrorism. Um, but sorry, I'm sort of losing thought track a little bit. But look, what I was sort of going with that was there are a lot of uncomfortable truths, a lot of honest but unpleasant statements that need to be said, and it makes people uncomfortable, but we need to talk about it. The crime, it's not white people who are responsible for this crime. It's all these black people. And we see this, the media, they stopped showing the pictures of the people who commit crimes because all of them were black. A few of them were brown, and almost none of them were white. And they didn't want to tell the truth about who's responsible for crime, so they kept their mouth shut to keep the readers comfortable. And just be honest and truthful like this president is. Round our criminals up and pack them into these concrete and steel cages like the animals they are. This is what we need to do. And this is an example of we need to start using capital punishment again. And I'm not talking about the stupid liberal capital punishment we have now. I'm talking about no last meal, no specific like extra trials. You just get one trial and that's all. And we're going to have mass executions. We're going to execute 10 people at the same time. We're going to use firing squads and guillotines, not poisoning. And we're going to do it correct so they stop committing the crimes. So there was a monologue on Saturday Night Live that has gotten liberals freaking out. And this is it here.
The biggest drug cartels in the world get together and buy up all the media and all the politicians and force all the people in the world to stay locked in their homes. And people can only come out if they take the cartel's drugs and keep taking them over and over.
So, a joke, a funny joke, but liberals are having a hissy fit over this. They're crying the crocodile tears. I don't know. I just thought it was funny. Not super controversial, but yeah. I don't know what the big problem with this was. I guess we've got to make it illegal to even talk about these globalist vaccines. George Soros's vaccine. Don't talk about it. Well, I don't know. I'm not getting very much viewership, so maybe I should just end it here. I think there's some other things I could talk about, but I think I'll just talk about them tomorrow. It's really late at night, and I should probably get to bed.